Hello, dear viewers, and thanks again for your loyalty to this show. It is with the same pleasure that I find once again to share our shared passion, that is football. This is Football Planet, and here are the headlines. They finally did it. Les Bleus of France are finally on top of the world. The charges of Didier Deschamps on Sunday won the World Cup at the expense of Croatia, an emotionally charged World Cup final that we'll review later in this show. The Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations entered its second round of qualifying over the weekend, which is also the first leg of the final playoff for a place at next year's championship in Niger. And after a month-long break due to World Cup, Africa Club competition resumed this week with interesting fixtures. Details on that to follow later in the show. This episode of Football Planet starts now. Yes, scenes of jubilation everywhere in France, an atmosphere of indescribable craze. The French have celebrated the coronation of the Blue World Cup on Sunday. It was a convincing 4-2 win against Croatia, which gave the tricolours their second world star.
France, the world champion, the French team beat Croatia 4-2 at the end of the crazy final this Sunday in Moscow. Les Bleus suffered the home match against Croatia but scored in almost every occasion. Mario Mandzukic opened the scoring in 18 minutes when Antonio Griezmann deflected a free kick. The latter then doubled the lead on a penalty kick when Ivan Perisic equalized for Croatia. In the second half, Les Bleus scored with Paul Pogba's 59th and Clem Pogba's 65th seconds. Mandzukic then forced Luis into a 69th minute dribble from the French goalkeeper, and accidental dumping at the result. Didier Deschamps became the third footballer in history to win the world title both as a player and as a coach. The French team won its fourth major title after the 1984 Euro, the 1988, the 1998 World Cup and the 2000 Euro.
A World Cup title is a uniquely important achievement in the career of a player, a coach, and even the fans. And the fabulous achievement of the Blues on Sunday will remain forever engraved in the memories, as was that of their elders 20 years ago. This was a historic moment fully savored in the six corners of France and beyond. Take a look.
In '98, I was only 2. I couldn't leave that. Now I'm happy. We're going to have the second star. I'm the happiest man today. The happiest. We're champions. That's it. There's nothing left to do. We're the best team in the world. Long live France. Sincerely, we felt French for the 3 days. We like to stay and we're proud of France. The commuters who did that for France, N'Golo Kante, Tolisso, we're proud and thank you. Victory. Our parents told us about 98 since we were born, and living it in 2018 is really a strong story. 20 years ago, I was with my son. Well, now he's celebrating. He's bigger here. I'm back on the Champs-Élysées, and I hope the party goes on for the better. And long live France, and go les Bleus.
This atmosphere contrasts with that of the Croats, who have something to be proud of their cause. The Flamboyants lived in Russia, the most fabulous page of their history, and despite the disappointment, their supporters keep their heads up high. This is the case in Melbourne, Australia, where many of them experienced this historic finale.
Listen, it's hard and we are happy. No other team would have played the way we did today against them. They didn't get it, but they went for everything.
Well, it's history. I was here for it. Might be another 20 or 30 years before we do it again. But I'm very, very proud of Croatia for what they have done.
I feel very proud of Croatians and all these people that have come here to support their country and their nation. But you know what is most beautiful and the sweetest? I am an Albanian, but I am supporting Croatians and my friends.
And just so you know, Belgium completed the podium after winning 2-0 against England on Saturday. We are now with our analyst Alison Beer. Thank you for joining us for this show. So can we say that the crowning of France is above all the success of efficiency and pragmatism in the game?
Oh, yeah. You could say that. We can say it. We can repeat it. In any case, lovers of the beautiful game can go spread their frustration. But anyway, we have a world champion, the French team, very pragmatic, who has learned a lot from her failure at Euro 2016 and who was designed to compete and win. Let us say that this victory for the French team is also the victory of his coach Didier Deschamps. He had a guideline and surely an approach that allowed him to manage the ego, to rely on players who believed in him, who believed in his project, who believed in his speech. And it must be recognized, to rule out those presence in his eyes was a source of destabilization, even disintegration or group dynamics. So it's a French team that didn't have to try to please, but a French team that just wanted to make results. The Euro 2016 experience went through this.
So let's take a general review of this World Cup. What was the biggest takeaway in this tournament?
So there are several points, but I will perhaps mention some of the most notable. First of all, is the enormous mental capacity of the Croatians, who managed to come out of 3 extra time in 2 shootouts. That's something that marked all the observers of this World Cup. It is rare to see this phenomenon, and Croatia has succeeded, and in the best ways. I was also marked by the decisive play of a few goalkeepers. I've talked about this before. I'll come back to it again. A goalkeeper like Croatian Sabasic, despite conceding 4 goals in the finals, England's Fabian Pickford, Denmark's Shimashek, Thibaut Courtois finally elected best goalkeeper, and to a lesser degree, Hugo Lloris, despite his blunder in the World Cup final. So that's already major facts that have marked me in this World Cup.
And what were your tops and flops?
For the top, I first retained the coach of the French team, Didier Deschamps, and Sonic to shape the competition, solid and effective. Second top, the Croatian team for all its produce and for a show of talent during this World Cup. Third top, I can quote individuals such as Luka Modric and Paris on the Croatian side, Mbappe on the French side, Eden Hazard and Thomas Meunier on the Belgian side. Those, in my opinion, splashed the tournament with their enormous potential. As for the flops, Sampoli and his team from Argentina, outgoing world champions Germany and Spain are in the lead. In terms of individuality, I can quote Messi, who was only a shadow of himself. Lukaku, who, outside the group phase, did not succeed in raising his level during the qualifiers. Harry Kane also did not raise his level during this second round. As the last flops, the African teams unable to reach the second round after 1982. It is also a regression.
Thank you very much, Alison Beer, for having especially accompanied us throughout this World Cup. It was a month of pure pleasure to have you all the way from Dakar.
Of course, it was a pleasure, a huge pleasure to be with Africanews. Thank you.
And before moving on from Matters World Cup, we take you back 20 years back to remind you in a few seconds of a new generation and how that of 1998 lived. A unique atmosphere to understand what it means to be a world champion. And Didier Deschamps becomes only the third man to be crowned world champion as a player and as a coach after Brazil Mario Zagallo and Germans Franz Beckenbauer. The Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations entered its second round of qualifying over the weekend, which is also the first leg of the final playoff for a place at next year's 2019 Africa Youth Championship in Niger Republic. Let's take a look at the following table. Just a quick reminder that the Under-20 Africa Cup will take place in Niger from February 24th to March 19th, 2019. And as we said in the headlines earlier, continental club competitions are back after a month-long break owing to the World Cup. The CAF Champions League gets underway on Tuesday, and there are beautiful fixtures lined up. In the CAF Confederations Cup, all games are scheduled for Wednesday, with also very nice fixtures lined up. Join us on our next show to find out the results of these matches. We have come to the end of today's show. You can also find it on our website, Africanews.com, and the discussion continues online on Twitter and Facebook. We are going to leave you with these images of France's celebration after they were crowned world champions. Goodbye.
Au revoir.